Well, I guess to kind of start off with, you're based in Toronto.
Yes, I am based in Toronto.
So tell us a little bit about where you shot in Toronto, because this is in a park, or did you shoot somewhere else?
Yeah, no, it's in a park in Toronto.
Okay.
So it's kind of like in the heart of where my film community is. It was at this park at like College and Shaw, and it's like a little parkette actually. We did originally, there's a park called Trinity Bellwoods, which is like quite known in Toronto. We wanted to shoot there, and but there happened to be like a number of things going on, and we just didn't think, we weren't getting permits, so we were like, maybe less visible is better. And yeah, we found this little parkette that had the bench, and we were just looking, and it was kind of like in a residential pocket where on both sides it was mainly like one-way streets or just houses. So we thought we'd have to deal with less foot traffic and less noise, but then there was an air show on that day, so only one of those things were true.
Wow, an air show.
Yeah.
How did that affect things? That's crazy.
I mean, it was just a lot of airplane and then waiting for it to pass over and then going again, yeah.
So let's talk about casting-wise, where you found these girls. Miss McLaughlin, she won a
Dora Award. She was nominated for a Dora
Yeah.
Award, which is our theater awards in I don't know if it's Canadian wide or Toronto based, but
big deal.
yeah, it was like huge that she got nominated. But yeah, so for the cast, really what we did, the thing is, we knew we wanted to feature women of color, and we knew that it was going to be, they needed to have a certain comedic ability, or sort of like at least a very natural one, even if it wasn't experience wise. And we knew that was going to be hard because the roles for women are always, certain kinds of roles, and especially for women of color, it's even harder. So doing real submissions weren't going to work because it was going to be like, the background work they could get on like the leading Canadian television show, or, maybe playing juror number this or what have you, because we also couldn't, it was a non-union production, it was like an independent production. And so that was the other thing, is like those that we did know were union, and so it was trying to we knew we were going to be pulling from a small pool, and that would be tough. And so what we did really was just like we held auditions, and like every community organization we knew that did like arts postings and things like that, we put out a call. All of our filmmaker friends, we asked them to share it, and then every director that I knew or actor I knew, I sent them an email with a subject line that said "funny black females, do you know any?" And yeah, there was some that we got through that route, and there was some that kind of just showed up randomly. And then there was a casting director that I'd met through a nonprofit film program I participated in. She was a commercial casting director, but we were just asking everyone and anyone, and she agreed to put it out for us. And so there was a couple that came through that way, which we're really grateful for, that she was willing to do that. Shasta Lutz Casting, she was quite awesome. Yeah, and so when the audition process, the thing that was really interesting was that we were finding out is because it was ensemble, people had to be the kind of funny that would work with other funny. And so there was some people that would audition, and it became quite obvious. It's like, oh, you're so funny. You would just like dominate, like, a lot of your humor is so physical, and like your voice is so strong, which is all fantastic things, but might not give a lot of room for the other three characters in the story. And so, yeah, we kind of found one of the things, we realized that we had everyone read for all four roles. That was one of the things. Yeah, everyone read all four roles, because we thought we didn't know how many people would audition. We didn't want to limit ourselves by seeing only one person as Chloe or one of the characters when they could have been a good fit for another one. So, yeah, everyone read for all four roles.
Is your background in comedic writing or comedy?
Yes, only in that I've always known that's what I wanted to make, and that's the kind of media that I digest, and I like, to me, memes and meme culture is hilarious. Like, those things are just as entertaining to me as, a really well-written TV show. But I started really through acting, like I did performing through a theater high school I participated in, and then I applied to university for it, and then quickly realized that they were only going to put on Shakespeare and that I didn't really like Shakespeare, and it just didn't feel like that was where I needed to be. And I ended up in a writing program. It was called a speech communication program. I think it's the only one of its kind in Canada, and it's about speech writing and presentations. And so I was like, fine, if I'm going to be in university, at least I know that this will help me in the world in a number of ways, like even if I can't get a job, as most of us couldn't. And then that just presented, like, aligned nicely with like deciding to write films, because as an actress, like, I mean, there's a lot of, it's a weird thing because it's like, you know, you don't see yourself in the roles, and then you just don't want to go out for them because it's like, is this a really good use of my time? I have never seen them pick the, you know, larger black girl for the leading role in a rom-com. Am I like, and this is going to take 3 to 4 hours out of my day here. And so I always volunteered while I was in university at the Toronto International Film Festival every year, and just to keep the spirit alive, and then just learn more about directing and writing and the way you could create stories in that way. And so that's how I kind of came to it.
What people do you look for as inspirational to you then? I mean, since it is such a market that seems so saturated in a very small community.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel like, you know, as a filmmaker of color, well, just as a filmmaker and a fan in general, we're in a luxurious time where the YouTubers and the independent filmmakers have really, like, kicked down the doors with some good stuff that they've made, and really, like, changed how we're looking at where we should be getting content from. You know, back in the day, and these are still people I admire very much, Mara Braka-Keel, who created Girlfriends and The Game and has done a number of shows, and Judd Apatow, just because I loved the community sense of Apatow's films. Like, you saw a lot of the same people. It felt like a collective, even though there was no, like, I didn't know of it as one. And a lot of the films, you know, for Mara, it was like looking at women of color, but it wasn't just about them being women of color. And for Judd Apatow, it was like these really small moments that he had built lengthy films out of, like, you know, a 40-year-old virgin, a story about a 40-year-old virgin, and that's what the whole film built out to be. And now it's more, you know, I'm with everyone else. Donald Glover, whew, jeez, like, he's Donald Glover and Cecile Emike, who did, I'm probably mispronouncing that, but she did a web series called Aki and Saltfish. Yeah. And it's like, you know, that's inspiring to me because it's two women, it's locked off, they're in one location, and I laughed till I cried watching that series. So, you know, she inspired me in that way, and Donald inspires me because he's just like, Atlanta is so nuanced and so says all the things without saying the things, and is of its time but also ahead of it, and just yeah.
So I've got to ask then, with this being just a snippet of time for us watching this short, is there hopes to make it into a larger feature?
I don't think a feature. I think because I thought about that, just feeling like that's kind of what was supposed to happen, like, you know, and that there was opportunity for it in the characters and the way that it was written, because, you know, it could kind of go from anywhere. And then the more that I looked at things and what I want to make next, it presents itself as a series. So I think if not this itself as a series, you know, something within that vein for sure. And I think it's, you know, show running and series creation, that's kind of my jam right now.
What made you decide to come to Oxford? Seems such a different festival, and yet it seems kind of perfect.
Yeah. Well, I tried to be, you know, in Canada, this is the first short film I've made outside of the program that I was a part of. And in Canada, there is funding, you know, thankfully, for the arts. Some of it is, you know, in the way, like, you kind of need someone to be like, yeah, it's decent before so they want you to be adjudicated to some degree by someone else, anyone else. And so I really went into it with, like, I love this film, I love this project, I want it to meet people, and I also need this to serve this specific purpose now that it's completed and awesome, which is help me unlock that funding, like, for me to even be able to apply. And so I just wanted to get one festival, and I knew that there's a sea of them, and that I had to find a strategy. Only had so much money and things like that. And so I just started thinking of places that could understand why this simple setup was radical, right? And I think it was like and so it was like places that had, you know, demographics of black people, or, you know, places that have strong histories, or a lot of media that would be surrounding around black people in slavery, right? To watch 4 women sit and just shoot the shit and be friends is radical, because they're not a baby mama, or, you know, it's not a part of a slave story. It's just them being women, and they're not talking about their skin color or their hair or anything. And so I thought of, you know, Mississippi and in the South, and I thought of, like, I think people will appreciate that. I thought that people here would appreciate that, and that it would feel different in the way that I think it's different here, and so decided to give it a go.
Tell us what happened when you found out you were going to be in. That must have been a fun. Was it a phone call? Was it an email? How did it happen?
It was an email, and it was really exciting. I mean, I went through, and, you know, part of the strategy was looking at, like, you know, really well-reviewed festivals, and a lot of people talked really highly of Oxford, and so I decided it would be worth the effort to, like, put it on my list. And the more I communicated with people even beforehand with questions, I just knew that it was the kind of people that cared about film, and that it was like a community that was putting this thing on. And I'm huge about community and connecting in that way. And then so when I got the email, it was kind of like, it was like a huge, just like, whoa type of thing. Because I think I wrote a cover letter when I submitted, kind of talking about why I think it would fit here. And so it felt really much that not judges, the programmers responded to that and understood that. So it felt really nice to that they're, like, I felt like, you know, to be seen in that way. I think it's that the audience here, if I were to say, I want everyone to watch it and be able to enjoy it, but I were to say, like, you know, the Mississippi audience is reflective of, like, the key people I would say would, like, appreciate and enjoy this film. So it was nice to have that kind of read on it.
So where can we keep track of Bitches Love Brunch, and also where can we keep track of you?
Well, you can keep track of me. I think the best place is Instagram. I have a really weird relationship with social media, but the memes keep me hooked to Instagram. So it's Sasha Leigh Henry is my personal page, and then I have a page with my film work. It's right now a lot of what I'm reading and writing to kind of keep inspired, and that's King Henry Directs. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and loved the short. Can't wait to see, hopefully, a series in the future.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.